Welcome to Codery. Don't worry, if you cannot really read the details of the screen, there is nothing particularly relevant. You can find all the details on the website, so don't worry if you cannot read some of the screen. So once again, my name is Ricardo. I'm the founder of Codery, and I'm here to help people with their coding skills. Yeah, so I would like to present the coding bootcamps that we run at Codery. So you may be thinking, why are we running a coding bootcamp? There are lots of coding bootcamps. Why are you running another coding bootcamp? So I was a tech lead at HSBC in Canary Wharf until 2018, and I realized that many of the graduates joining the bank, they first of all, they paid a lot of money to learn coding. Probably you noticed that already if you are looking for a bootcamp in London. Yeah, they paid a lot of money. But on top of that, they learned things that were actually quite disconnected from what the market demands. So let me give you an example. Can anybody tell me what's the most popular programming language today in the world? JavaScript? C++, that was very romantic. Anybody thinking something different? Python, Ruby? No? Python? Java? It is JavaScript. Yeah, it is JavaScript. Starting from 2013, JavaScript is considered the most popular programming language. And you may be thinking, considered by who? By you? By that person? No, by GitHub. Does anybody know what GitHub is? Can anybody give me an accurate description about what GitHub is? That's a classic job interview question, by the way. Version control. What that means? So if you have to explain someone who has no idea about what version control is.
So it's just open source, so you show like what your target is.
You know, when you go on holidays and you take some pictures, you are likely to save these pictures somewhere. Yeah, I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm talking about saving your data. Yeah, because what happens if you break your phone? Your data is lost. Thankfully, now we got things like Google Photos, yeah, Amazon Photos. There are different alternatives. Yeah. So GitHub is the place where you can save your code. That's the first thing. Yeah, you are coding locally, but eventually you want to make sure the code is persisted somewhere else. Also, it's a fantastic way to collaborate with your colleagues. Yeah. So according to GitHub, I can actually show you some statistics. So they release every year a very nice report where they talk about the state of coding. And even though they change the format of the data every year, and it takes me a while to find the information I'm looking for, the important thing is if I scroll down, so hopefully here you can appreciate that JavaScript has been on top. Yeah? Unfortunately here, we receive many students from other boot camps that didn't manage to get a job. They didn't manage to break into the industry. And some of these guys have been learning Ruby on Rails. You can check where Ruby is. Yeah? So here at Codery, we focus on what you need to break into tech. And you know, tech, and more specifically talking about coding, is a fantastic career in London. London is the first hub in Europe, yeah, when talking about coding. And of course, JavaScript is very prominent. Yeah? Every fintech, every new company creating new software trusts JavaScript. But let me ask you something. Why JavaScript? Why? Okay, it's the most popular one. Fantastic. But why? Do you think it's any better? It's any sexier than Python or Java? Why is it so popular? Still what?
Easy to learn.
Easy to learn?
Yes.
I'm not against that argument. However, probably no one will say that JavaScript is any easier than, for instance, Python. And JavaScript is 2.5 times more popular than Python. So there should be something else.
I think it's, you can apply it to many different things.
I like that. You can deploy to many different things. Let's go back in time. So JavaScript was firstly released in 1995, yeah? On the 4th of December. So at that time, some of you probably were not even born, right, in 1995. If you're lucky enough to be born after 1995, you may not remember, but otherwise, does anyone know which was the most popular web browser back in 1995? That's right, it was Netscape 4. Yeah, at that time, the web was a tiny wall compared to what it is today, I hope you agree with me. But even in that case, Netscape realized there was a lot of potential. Yeah? If you remember, Bill Gates wrote a book in 1995 when he talked about the future of tech. He didn't mention the word internet in 1995. The book had to be removed from the libraries, but that's a different story. So Netscape, they did realize that the web had a lot of potential. At that time, Netscape and any other web browser was only able to run essentially HTML and CSS. You remember 90s tables, yeah, dancing babies, all this sort of things, yeah. So Netscape said, hey, to add more power to the web, I have to run a programming language. So Netscape knocks on doors. Java, do you want to run your applications as part of my web browser? And then Java said, who are you? No, I don't care. Python, do you want to do that? I don't care. But JavaScript, probably because it was a new language, they said, hey, why not? I'm the new guy in the block, right? So let's try and see what happens. I hope you agree with me that now, 25 years later, the web browser is the most important piece of code that you install. It's the first one you install when you buy a new laptop. Yeah? So JavaScript runs in a web browser. Because a web browser is everywhere, JavaScript is everywhere too. So that's the first and most important reason why JavaScript today is the most important programming language. It's not any easier to learn, it's not any faster, it's not any sexier, it's just everywhere. Yeah? Because of that, many companies want to deploy their apps everywhere. There are other reasons. So JavaScript now runs. Do you think that JavaScript is it front end? Is it back end? Is it both? Front end. That's interesting. Some people think JavaScript runs front end and back end. Yeah, that's right. Starting from 2009, JavaScript is front end and back end. In other words, if you know JavaScript, you are a full stack developer. And that has very important side effects if you think about that. Before 2009, if you got a lot of money to create some software, to create a company, you needed at least 2 developers talking about web applications. You needed someone to work on the front end. Yeah? That means JavaScript, HTML, CSS, blah, blah. But you needed someone else to work on the back end. You know, the back end, the dark side, when we deal with user passwords, credit card transactions, APIs, yeah? All the sensitive part of your data is handled on the backend. So before 2009, you needed someone else to work on the backend. PHP, C#, C++, Python, Java, whatever. Yeah? Someone thought, wait a minute, if we need JavaScript in the front end, why don't we build a mechanism to run JavaScript in the backend as well? So does anybody know the name of JavaScript running on the backend? That's right, Node.js. Reason number 2 why JavaScript is so popular. There is a third one. Let me give you an example. I used to work for Sky TV here in Osterley. And at Sky TV, they used to have multiple teams building the same stuff. So if Sky wants to develop a new functionality for the player to, I don't know, rewind the movie 15 seconds, I just made that up, yeah, they had to build that multiple times. They had to build it for the web, they had to build that for Android, they had to build that for iPhones, they had to build that for tablets, they have to build that for Roku boxes, they have to build that for smart TVs. I hope you agree with me, there is a lot of effort just to build a single feature. Yeah? But now, other very important companies like Amazon, they realize that with JavaScript, you can build your stuff once, and you can deploy it everywhere. So you just need one single team. Yeah? Actually, at Cody, we are now releasing our mobile apps. I would like to talk about that later on. Yeah? So, once again, yes, JavaScript is the most popular programming language. JavaScript is the present. JavaScript is the future. So if you want to break into tech, JavaScript is the easiest path. Even if we never see our faces again, and because I'm not making any business, thankfully I don't need the money for living, let me give you my final advice. Never trust anybody trying to charge you money to learn Ruby. Yeah? All right, so Cody is about JavaScript. I'm talking about JavaScript. So do you know is there anything else we need to create a powerful web application? Any library, any framework? Django, all right? Purely talking about UI libraries. Do you know any JavaScript UI library? Which one? Vue, all right? Anything else? Angular, all right? React, yeah? All these things, yeah? Which one is the most popular?
Angular and React. React is the most popular in the States.
Technically speaking, you are wrong. Neither React or Angular are the most popular libraries anymore. Yeah? The most popular UI library today is Vue. And if you don't trust me, I would like to invite you in 2 weeks' time to attend our next React workshop, where we'll explain that with figures. Yeah? According to GitHub, once again, GitHub, Vue is the most popular programming language. But here, we don't do Vue. We don't teach Vue. So you may be thinking, why, if it's so popular, we don't talk about Vue here? Because, does anybody know who looks after React? It's Facebook, that's right. Before React, the king of JavaScript was Angular. Yeah? I was one of the first 20 Angular developers in the world. I've been doing conferences for Google. You can find me on YouTube. And before React, we got Angular. And who look after Angular still today? Who? Google, that's right. So you see, even if we talk about technicalities, at the end of the journey, it's Google versus Facebook. Yeah? Why? Because they realize that whoever dominates JavaScript, they have control on the web. And that's a lot of power. Yeah? But even in that case, we got Angular, Google, React, Facebook, thinking ahead. Now, Vue is even more popular than React. So does anybody know who looks after Vue? The community. That sounds very romantic. Yes, of course. The community is always there, right? But in reality, someone drives that community. No, wrong. It's the Chinese. Someone in China with obviously a lot of support. Yeah? So the Chinese are everything but stupid, and they realize that, you know, they want to control the web as well. Yeah? It's the first time ever JavaScript may not be dominated by the Americans anymore. Yeah? Anyway, we don't do Vue here, we do React, because even though technically speaking, Vue is slightly more popular than React, about 10%, if you plan to live and work in Europe or the US, in these regions, React is more popular. Yeah? So we are focusing the West, essentially, here in our bootcamp. All right, so we got JavaScript, we got React. This is what our bootcamp is about. We create apps with JavaScript and with React from the very first day. We don't really believe on the idea of day number 1, let's learn HTML, week number 2, let's learn React, week number 3. For us, that goes against motivation. Yeah? So from the first day, we create applications. Yeah? Have you noticed there are lots of posits on that corner of the room? Is that familiar to any of you? What that represents? Nobody? Have you heard about Agile? Yeah? What is Agile? Another classic job interview question. Yeah? You see, I'm asking many questions. Software development method. Yeah. Originally speaking, Agile was a software development method, but today it went beyond the scope of software. Many companies that are completely unrelated to tech are using Agile. Agile is the new, I mean, it's not new anymore, it's like 11 years old, right? But it's the new compared to how all the software itself is, the new way to orchestrate your products. It's very impressive to see how many students we have here from other bootcamps that don't know Agile. I mean, listen, some people ask, can I learn coding by following Udemy tutorials or Free Code Camp or Codecademy and things like that, Code Wars? Of course, you can learn coding. That's one of the beautiful things about coding. But you should ask yourself, can I actually get a job by learning coding online? This is unlikely to happen. If that's your plan, let me alert you, this is unlikely to happen. Why? Because even if technically speaking, you are ready to break into tech, towards the industry, you need something else. You need the ability to work as part of a team. You need to know how Agile works. You need to know pair programming. Have you heard about pair programming? Yeah, companies like Sky, once again, I'm back to Sky many times because Sky, for me, is one of the best companies to work as a developer in London. So they do pair programming full time, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So you really need to know how to do pair programming, which is not particularly complicated, but if you don't know, you are not likely to get a job. Code reviews, how the companies review the quality of the software they build, this type of things. So here in the bootcamp, we don't just teach coding. We imitate as much as possible a real working environment. This is very important. Project-driven and also individual learning plans. We got students with very little coding experience. We got students with a lot of experience in other languages, and they realize JavaScript is super sexy, and they want to learn JavaScript, but they have the ability to learn faster because they are coders already. We don't really care. You progress individually. You have the ownership of your code, and everyone will progress at a different pace, but that's absolutely fine. So that's pretty much what the bootcamp is about. Let me show some slides, even though I may skip many of them because, you got all the information on the website. We'll be talking about projects. And that's very important, guys, even though you cannot see anything probably because of the brightness of the screen. So let me, something like that. Cool, play to learn. Has anybody heard about the Codery platform? No? All right, that's a bit unlucky. So here at Codery, we build an online tool which is free. That's the first thing. 80% of the content is free at least. So even if you don't plan to break into tech, even if you have literally no interest in this session and you are just waiting for the pizzas, this platform, if you want to learn a bit of coding, may help you. So this is a tool that we created 3 years ago, and now we're of course working on it. Many bootcamps in Europe are using it. At the moment, this is the most popular coding training platform made in Europe. There are other platforms bigger than Codery, but in the US, not in Europe. Then it's a very easy way, at least from our point of view, to learn coding. As I said, we're collaborating with some bootcamps in Europe. Some of them, they work with unprivileged groups, refugees, minorities, and stuff like that. So let me show you how it works, because once again, as I said, even if you don't want to learn coding with us, you can use the platform. So there is a play button on top, as you can see here. So if I click on that play button, then I can show you how the platform works. So let's present a couple of examples. First of all, you see we got on the left-hand side some sort of filter where we can choose different aspects, like for instance, which language do you want to learn? JavaScript, React, blah, 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 Python, and also the difficulty level, from the very, 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 very basics to the most challenging questions that we can think about. So let me show you an example about the most fundamental question. So even if you have literally no coding experience, you are welcome at Codery. The majority of our guys, they came here without any single line of code on their background, and many of them managed to secure a job after the course. So let me present you an example. So look at the problem. And so I would like to show you one problem. I'm selecting essentially a level of difficulty. And then let me try to find the best way to present the problem, because there is a lot of text. Codery is going mobile. It's not official yet, but hopefully before the end of the month, there will be a public beta. So to prove that theory, I would like to play the challenge in mobile mode, simulating and using a smartphone. So let me see if it works. So you can imagine this is a smartphone on landscape mode. Let me try to zoom it a bit more. Yes, can you see the screen, guys? Yeah, here you go. You see, I can swipe left and right. Imagine this is your smartphone in landscape mode. So even if you have no idea about what JavaScript is. Look at the problem. Here, by the way, you see a lot of activity because there is many people playing with the platform at the moment, so you may get some messages from the bottom. So on the very first question in our training program, we ask you, please, Mr. Future Successful Developer, please create a function, create a method, a utility in JavaScript, and the name of the method is getWelcomeMessage. So whenever we execute it, you should display, please guys, pay attention to the message on the right-hand side, the orange text. You see the orange text? You see that? So now I will swipe left, and then you see this is not even about writing code. Yeah, this is about choosing the right answer. So let me show you the question again. Based on that question, what is the right answer? A or B, and why? A. So with the exclamation mark, right? Let's mark it. You got confetti time. That means the answer is right. Yeah. So you can see this is pretty simple, right? You will get 5 questions, and then so on each question you need to find the right answer. I'm going to skip that. Once again, this is pretty fundamental, but if it's your first encounter with JavaScript, hopefully that will help you to to progress and to learn a bit. At the end of each exercise, let me skip the next questions. At the end of the exercise, we can find the first difference between Codery and other training platforms. You get a score based on your performance across all this bunch of questions. We are measuring different metrics like how long it took you to complete the test, how standard the code is, how many times you go into Google to get help, which is not a good thing. Yeah? So based on all these metrics, you get a score. Let me show you just quickly another example. Let's talk about HTML. Has any of you done any HTML or CSS before? Yeah, some of you? Cool, fantastic. So let's do a CSS exercise. This technology has been created by us. So the thing is, there is nothing like that in the market, literally. I'm not sure if you can see anything. Let me try to zoom that a bit. So look, we present you a business-driven requirement. Please, Mr. or Miss Developer, please create a user interface for a mobile device. Very simple, yeah, very simple. Black background and yellow text on top of it. And because we are a super cool company and we're going to support multiple devices, make sure that this sexy user interface looks good, not just on smartphones, but also tablets, laptop, and of course, smart TVs. So back to the right-hand side, let's do a bit of coding. So the HTML bit has been written for us, thankfully. This is very basic. But can anybody tell me, how do I change the color of my text in CSS? Color, all right? You just made that up, or you know it? I don't know. Let's try color, right? Color, and now the color should be yellow. But imagine that we ignore the instructions and we print it in green color. So do you think this code, the solution is right or not? Yes? Are you sure? All right. Let's see what happens if we are confident enough with the solution. So let's evaluate it. And now look at what will happen. We are going to essentially compare the picture our business wanted to get against the picture that we generated. And then look, the picture was expected to be yellow. However, the picture is in green color. So now we can get the diff. We can analyze pixel by pixel the differences between the expected result and your result. Have you watched, guys, these TV shows in Discovery Channel or somewhere else? They talk about security in the airports, and they do random checks with passengers to check if they got like drugs in the luggage, and they throw some type of spray on the luggage, And if the test becomes pink, that means the passenger has some drugs on the, you know what I'm talking about? So, even though the example is a bit weird and probably not for all the audiences, that's what we do here, yeah? If you get pink in your screen, that means something is wrong. No problem at all. Let's fix it. Let's change the color from green to yellow, and let's see what happened now. You see, we got confetti time. The solution is right. So that's pretty much the way it works. All these training exercises are individual, but one of the beautiful aspects of the platform is that now you can fight other developers. So you can see how good you are compared to other people. They play a challenge, yeah? They got the same questions at the same time. So let me show you an example. We recently played this challenge, and in here, this is a very visual way to see how good you are. Another reason why for our students it's much easier to find the job, because we got metrics, we got data that no one else has. I think that sounds pretty natural. Don't forget something, guys. There is a huge shortage of developers, huge. According to the European Union, if you accept that, there is about 1 million developers needed this year in Europe, in the European Union. In America, it's pretty much the same. There's a huge shortage. Does that mean that getting a job, getting your first job is an easy thing, is an easy task? No, I'm afraid I will be sending you an over-optimistic message telling you this is an easy task. Once you got commercial experience, super easy, super easy. I was catching up with a lady, former student. She finished the bootcamp like 5 months ago, so it took her like 3.5 weeks to get a job. And now, late in December, she's moved to a second role. So she's changed job, and she has duplicated salary in 4.5 months. Yeah? So once you are there, it's super easy to progress. Yeah? But the first one is tough. So talking about salaries, do you know how much money you can make as a JavaScript and React developer in London? In what? Let's talk about a good developer. Mind that you are a really good senior developer. How much money you can make as a JavaScript and React?
Easy, 20 plus, easy.
20 plus? Yeah. What? A week or? Annum. Right, no, we're talking about salary on a yearly basis. 75, 65, 85. I love that. 100 plus. You got closer than anybody else, yeah? You can easily make 120, 130 easily. If it helps, in December, I got an offer. Daily rate was 1,200, daily rate. You can multiply. If the daily rate, obviously without the weekends, right? You don't get paid on the weekends. But if your daily rate as a contractor is 1,200 a day, a lot of money, at the end of the year, I didn't even calculate it, but it's probably about 200K. Yeah? So it's definitely a lot of money. And I'll tell you something. So you have a question?
How about a junior?
Yeah, okay, fantastic. So, yeah, okay, so that's the long-term goal. You can make a lot of money, yeah, in the long term. But what about the short term, yeah? So in the short term, our students are making between, to be honest, the range is very wide, let me alert you. But we can predict the range depending on what you're looking for, yeah? So we definitely advise, we help students to take the right decision depending on your professional appetite. Let me give you an example. If you want to work for a startup in Shoreditch or somewhere else, pros and cons. Advantages. You're going to work on a very dynamic team, probably with a nice project, new project, cool office, colors, stuff like that, yeah? Disadvantages. First of all, security, yeah? The startup may shut down the business from one day to the other, and also salaries don't used to be that great. Maybe 20 to 23, 24, yeah, working for a startup. On the other way around, if you work for a big corporation, you get a lot of stability. Money is much better. We can be talking between 28 to 45, especially if you end up working in financial services. I think 45 for an entry role is really good. But it's, in my opinion, at least not that exciting because you're surrounded by a lot of smart people. You don't feel, generally speaking, that motivated. I mean, this is very personal. So it's our responsibility to show you the data, pros and cons, and then it's up to you to take the decision. Which way do you want to go? Yeah. Regardless of whether you start making 20 or 40 on your first role, once again, in the long term, you're going to make a lot of money. Yeah, something in between. Someone with 4. I know people likes to say 4 years of experience. I will say 5. So let's be pessimistic. Don't think about 4. Think about 5 years. I mean, 5 years is not that much. In 5 years, on average, JavaScript and React developer in London can make 500 a day. So moving from 20 to 40K a year on your first role to 500 a day in 5 years' time, you can see your salary will get better really quick. Yeah? But to me, the main reason why you should become a developer is not just because of the money. Is to me, and once again, I have to admit this is very personal, is because of the freedom. Freedom. Once you make a lot of money, you can do whatever you want in life. Yeah? I got friends working in Mexico, in Japan, in many different countries. Yeah? That's freedom. Thankfully, today, the only thing you need is a laptop and broadband. Yeah? My wife, she's a solicitor. She cannot do that. But we, as developers, who cares? Eh? We can work from anywhere. Cool. So yeah, that's why you should become a developer, and that's why this tool helps companies to identify talent. Because once you've been working for 10 super cool companies, I mean, your CV will talk about you, right? That's pretty easy to understand. However, on your first role, how does a company know if you are a good candidate or not for that position? Yeah, I showed you before that on the next week, on the 29th, we are running the largest web event maybe of 2020 in the UK with Vodafone. Vodafone is hungry to hire lots of developers. Yeah, and they realize that thanks to this platform, they can easily filter out talent. Yeah? All right, so this is our platform. And of course, if you like the metrics, analytics, you can find the best developers. You can contact them. You can send them a message. You can see who has been the best developer of the day. I mean, this is actually real data. Yeah, this is real data comes from today. So you can find out who is the best developer of the day, of the week. You can also get statistics by country, best developer on each location, top countries, many different statistics if you like that sort of healthy competitive aspect of coding. All right, so I think we got like 10 minutes left. Yeah, literally. So, I mean, we've been working with, let me change the contrast once again. We've been working with some of the largest tech companies in the UK. Obviously, we are growing. We are working with them very closely. And yeah, so let's talk a bit about the plans. What alternatives? So first of all, I think it's fair to mention I'm not making business. That's the first thing. Yeah, you can once you see the prices, you can tell me if I'm making business or not. Yeah, compared to making 1,200 a day, and ignoring that I'm here like 14 hours every single day. Cool. So we're trying to help people. Yeah, because we thought it was unfair that in London learning to code is very expensive, and it's not just about the price. It's about the syllabus. Syllabus are wrong under our point of view. Ruby on Rails is not going to open you any door. All right, so first of all, do you really want to become a developer? Are you serious about it? That's your plan. So we ran a professional course for 8 weeks. It's essentially like a job. Yeah, so you are here with us Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. That's it. Yeah. After 2 months, you will become a professional full stack developer. Yeah? You are going to be working on different applications. For instance, CodeFlix. CodeFlix is the first app our students built from the very first day, from the 2nd of March. Codeflix is the result of combining Netflix, you know Netflix?
Yes.
And Codery. So from the very first day of the course, we present you an application that you are going to build step by step. And if you are thinking, hey, I'm unable to build a professional application, I have no coding experience, that's absolutely fine, guys. Look, we got many video tutorials. So for instance, the video tutorials about Codeflix, which are private for our students. So in here, we present you a step-by-step guide with many videos where we present you how to create a GitHub account, how to deploy your app to the cloud, how to get analytics, all step by step. Yeah? So that's the first project that our students build. They also work on a team application. Yeah? On the second half of the bootcamp, they sit together, they run a brainstorm session, and they decide what they want to build. Yeah? So that gives them a lot of creativity to build what they want. And also we help the students to build their portfolio, their CV. We train job interview questions. I've been interviewing like, I don't know, 200 people in my life. I already know the questions that the companies are going to ask you. I'm very surprised about that, guys. That's a bit off topic. I mean, why the hell, if every single company is asking you the same questions, why people don't master this list of 20 questions, yeah? So we master these questions here. We run whiteboard challenges. You can see there are a couple of whiteboards in that corner where we present you an algorithm written in JavaScript, React, or whatever, and then it's about having a chat about it. We don't really want to know if you understood every single detail. We want to know if you are able to express, to communicate, to share ideas, to suggest improvements, all these type of things. We train that on a weekly basis. So that's essentially the professional course starting on the 2nd of March. We also run an online course. Personally, and because once again I'm not making business, I need to be super transparent with you, I wouldn't recommend you this plan if you are based in London. So we got the students in Italy, in Germany, even in Japan. We had one student. I mean, if you're based in Japan, it's either that or nothing, yeah? So I think it makes sense. But if you are based here, don't forget that being here, working side by side, I think that's the best way to progress faster, yeah, under my point of view. And then if you are unsure whether coding is a good fit for you or not, we also have a mini bootcamp running 2 days a week, every Monday and every Thursday, 2.5 hours each session, where we only build one app, which is Codeflix. So no team apps, no preparation for the market, no portfolio, just Codeflix. You learn coding, nothing more, nothing else. Yeah? And one more thing, by the first time ever, we're also running a data science mini bootcamp, yeah, in April. As you may have noticed before, Python is, by the first time ever, the second most popular programming language. Yeah? So here at Codery, we don't learn JavaScript because we believe it's better. It's just because it's the most popular one. If tomorrow that changes, we will adapt the syllabus. Yeah? So that's why we do data science course in April. And yeah, I mean, on the website, you will find all the details. You know, this guy, for instance, he came here without any coding experience, literally zero. Now he's working for Sky TV. It's an amazing role. So this lady, she moved to a second role recently. Poppy, she's been working in Miami. So, you know, we got many testimonials here about former students. From my side, the last thing is, if you are interested in joining us before it's too late, we work with small groups, don't forget that, up to 15 students. Yes, a way to tell you thank you for your time today. You got a promo code, you got a voucher that will expire tomorrow at 7:15 or something like that. Yeah, only 3 vouchers remaining. So if at the time you book your place, you introduce that code, you will get 10% off. By the way, because we don't really make business, we are very flexible with payment. You can pay in multiple installments. Also, if you recommend someone, you get 10% discount for each student you recommend, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we try to make it easy. Cool. I mean, from our side, after this very long and boring talk, I think that's pretty much it. Pizzas will arrive in 12 minutes if they arrive on time. Sometimes they arrive a bit earlier. So it's time for questions. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about? Yeah, go for it.
One question, because I came quite late, and maybe I missed that part. What about the
Yep, yeah, definitely, yeah. So, absolutely, that's a fantastic question. Yes, actually we discussed at the beginning of the session. So here, our students become full stack developers.
Yeah.
They learn front end. When I mean front end, I'm talking about user interfaces, responsive design, mobile, tablet, desktop, and also backend. They learn how to work with Node, how to set up an API, how to fetch data from the backend to the front end. As part of the team app, some teams work with external APIs. So on the last cohort, for instance, one team, they created a Champions League application that was fetching the results of the last games from the Champions League on the last 20 years. Another team created a list to filter your favorite or your playlist on Spotify. So you have a lot of freedom to really integrate with external APIs because you already know, you will know how to deal with backend code.
And you split people by mini groups or how do
Yeah, correct. That's absolutely correct. So once again, the course is mostly individual. That's the way we guarantee that even if you have no idea about coding, you will never feel behind. So everyone will progress at a different rhythm on the first 4 weeks. On the second 4 weeks, main focus will be the team application. So after 4 weeks, you know how to build an app, you know how to build conflicts. So now let's prove you know how to build an app by building another app of your choice. And yes, we work by teams of 3 to 5 people, generally speaking.
And all the lessons, basically it's here, right?
Yes, correct. We run the lessons here. This is our studio. It's not very posh, but it's cheap. And thanks to the price, we can definitely keep the price of the course under control. Also, I didn't mention that, but you will get access to a calendar, and as part of the calendar, essentially, you will be able to find out all the activities, all the workshops, all the sessions. And if, because of whatever reason, one day you are not here, we understand that we are quite flexible with timing. I mean, we understand people, they have duties, they have family, they have, whatever. Yeah. All the workshops that we deal with are streamed on the internet and recorded. So you can either watch them from home, or you can watch them again even if you're here afterwards if something was unclear. Sorry, I didn't catch the question. No. I mean, the thing is, so listen, guys. We know how to code, so this should be productive to you. And every individual is different, yeah? So if you book your place, the first thing we do is we call you back to have a one-to-one catch-up because we want to have a better understanding about your background, your reality, and your expectation, yeah? And you may be telling us, hey, listen, I cannot be here at 9 a.m. or on Tuesday I need to be out because my daughter, whatever. That's fine, yeah? We are easy with all these things. More questions?
Is the data science course remote or?
It's here as well. Yeah. So all the courses are on site apart from the online. Obviously.
So presumably, obviously you've got different courses on offer. You've got the full course, and then you've got the evening course, and then you've got the data science course. Presumably they don't run concurrently, right?
Yes, they run concurrently. Yes. So the full-time course, all the courses start on the week of the 2nd of March. The full-time starts Monday, 2nd of March, 9 a.m. Yeah? We start the course here. The evening starts on that day at 6 p.m. Yeah? And for instance, the data science starts on Tuesday, the day after, at 6 p.m. So in other words, the courses start on the same week and they finish on the same week, pretty much.
Different cohort, obviously.
Yeah, of course, different cohort, different people, even different teachers, depending on the circumstances. Yeah, they're completely independent.
Another question is, how many mentors you got in your team?
Second,
How many mentors you got in your team?
how many mentors you got? So the thing is, we work with small groups. Yeah, small groups means we always try to work with up to 15, 16 students, but ideally less than that. On this cohort, I think we're 11. Yeah, I mean, once you apply to join the course, we have an interview with you. We are not quite strict, but we really want to make sure you have the right motivation. We don't want to waste your time and your money. Yeah? Because we work with small groups, the way it works from a teaching point of view is there is one teaching structure here. That it's either me, so I used to run the workshops. If you have attended any of the Intro to React or data science classes, you know my teaching style. If not, of course, you are more than welcome to join any of our upcoming events. And here we also do doors open days. So you're more than welcome to attend the class and get a better feeling about how sexy our methodology is. Yeah? That goes without saying. So generally speaking, I'm the person who runs the workshops that are recorded and streamed in the mornings, and then there's another teaching structure that runs the one-to-one sessions in the afternoons. Yeah? So obviously, in the mornings, you are looking at the screen, but at some point, you will do coding. You will bring your laptop and you will do coding. Yeah? So the other teaching structure, who is really good technical speaking, will be around supporting whoever needs help dealing with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or whatever.
How many projects at the end we're gonna have at our portfolio?
How many what, sorry?
Projects in portfolio?
Yeah, so on the full-time plan, you will end up having 3 projects on your portfolio. First of all, Codeflix, then the team app, and then the portfolio itself. Because the portfolio itself is another project. Literally today, and you can go to YouTube to catch up with that workshop, literally today, this morning at 9:45, we explain how to deploy your portfolio to the cloud. And literally tomorrow, the guys will start building their portfolio.
What about the work placements after?
Yeah. That's a good question. So, yeah, that's a good question. We help you during the bootcamp. We actively prepare you for the market. Yeah. Once again, this is not only a coding bootcamp. Apart from coding, we help you to prepare your CV. We help you to prepare the portfolio. We help you with job interviews, technical questions, pair programming exercises, whiteboard challenges, yeah? Agile. That's part of the course. After the course, we have a certification criteria. In other words, we expect you to finish a series of tasks. Yeah? You may be thinking, oh, I have no coding experience, that's too complicated. That's fine. That list of tasks has been created based on the assumption you have no coding experience. So some developers, they need 3-4 weeks to complete the list of tasks. But in the scenario that because of whatever reason you are unable to complete the tasks, that's fine. You are more than welcome to keep working on these tasks after the bootcamp. You are always welcome. So we will never let you down, in other words. Once you are certified by us, that means we can help you in 2 different ways. First of all, if a company asks for references, that happens often, yeah? Once again, if you have no coding experience, generally speaking, companies, they want to verify something about you, yeah? So we are always happy to provide positive feedback about your profile. That's the first thing. One more thing. Also, we help with the unattended test. Let me give you an example. So you apply to a job position, and then you do like a phone call. They like you, you like them. So you go to the next step of the journey, which is running an unattended test. An unattended test means they will send you an exercise, and you have to work on it at home. Yeah? Please create a basic app in React, build a user interface with email and password, and only if email and password are filled and the email is valid, then enable a submit button. I don't know, I just made that up. Yeah? So we are more than happy to review that app before you send it to the company, just to make sure that you didn't do anything wrong. This is not likely to happen, but you know, we will support you on that as well.
Do you work with some companies where students can apply, like
That's a good question. We don't have strong partnership with companies. And actually, I would tell you, nobody has a strong partnership with companies. And if you don't trust me, there's something. So sometimes we get calls from companies. We need a JavaScript developer. And if at that time any of you is looking for a job, obviously we recommend that person. But no one in London actually has a partnership where a company is looking for 10 developers a month. That doesn't exist here. Yeah, that doesn't exist here. In other words, during the bootcamp, We prepare you for the market. After the bootcamp, you look for a job with our support, of course. Yeah? But I think it's important to know that no one is going to knock your door. And it doesn't matter if you are here or if you are in another bootcamp. No one is going to knock your door. Hey, do you want a job here? This is not going to happen. It will happen, maybe after 2-3 years. But on your first role, it won't happen. So you need to fight for it. Anything else?
Last question from me.
Hmm?
What about testing?
Testing. I love the question. I love the question. Not sure if you notice. Not sure if you notice, but the Codity platform itself, it's a TDD platform. So does anybody know what TDD means? Test-driven development. And what that means? Correct. Imagine that you are a big manager at Mercedes or BMW, yeah? And you want to build your next car. So the way you build a car, even if we are not engineers, expert on how to build a car, you can imagine if you want to check the safety of the car, first of all, you build the car, yeah, you build it, and then you check the safety, yeah? So you know the crash tests. They crash the car against a wall at a given speed to see if the passenger survived to the accident, yeah, things like that. When talking about software, we tend to do on the other way around. We test things before they even exist. Yeah, that's what TDD is about. That's a bit mind-blowing. It takes a while to get used to it, but long story short, yes. First of all, the platform is based on TDD. So if you don't know what TDD is, you start learning TDD by accident. And also, we run several workshops in TDD and BDD, which means behavior-driven development. Pizzas. Hi, can I speak in? Hello? All right, so, hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello? Yeah, Papa Jones, are you outside? Okay, give me 2.5 minutes and I'll be with you then. Thank you very much. See you, bye-bye. Alright guys, pizzas are here, so let's do something. Let me bring the pizzas, let me bring the beers. You are more than invited to stay. Then we can continue talking.